Hey, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, I am joined by the one and only Lacy Younger, a Nashville recording artist, serial entrepreneur, and a radiant force of energy. In this fun and energizing conversation, we explore how Lacy stays grounded while doing all of the things, literally. So from managing stress, honoring energetic boundaries, and protecting her mental health through every season of her life, her story is full of wisdom and laughter and a few surprises. Wait until you hear how old she is. Your jaw will drop. So grab your tea, pop in those AirPods, and get ready for a conversation that'll leave you inspired and uplifted. Welcome to Cultivating Her, breaking taboos, balancing hormones, and redefining women's health. I'm your host, Christy Edgar, an integrative nutrition health coach and holistic lifestyle expert. Join me as we dive into the world of menstrual health, hormone balance, and the connection to women's wellness. Whether you're looking to decode your cycle, tackle PMS, or manage menopause, this show is your go-to to syncing your lifestyle with your hormonal rhythms. Through candid conversations, practical tips, and a few expert interviews, Cultivating Her empowers women to embrace their cycles and align their lifestyle to boost energy and thrive in every phase of life. Subscribe now and start flowing with confidence as we redefine what it means to be a woman with harmonious health. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are?
I think I can. Okay. My name is Lacy Younger. I am an entrepreneur. That's the easiest way to describe who I am because, after all, I am a triple Gemini. This could go on forever. So we'll just start there. No, but I'm a singer, songwriter, recording artist, and I have ventured out in several businesses. Obviously, publishing is one of them because being a songwriter, that's kind of a given. But I kind of like old houses, very old. The only All my houses I've owned are over 100 years old. Um, I kind of do fly back and forth. I had a place in Nashville, but then I swapped that for a couple places in Pennsylvania. I still live in San Diego. I run a bed and breakfast here and a couple of rentals, and I'm an author of children's books. And just basically, I'm like I say, I'm chronically inspired. I'm very creative, and I'm chronically inspired. I have all kinds of great ideas, and try to finish most of them, but probably get a third of them to come to fruition. You know what I mean?
I
And then
do.
I'm like, who wrote all these checks that my body can't cash? That would be my mind.
Well, that
You
Airbnb,
know?
that B&B that you have is absolutely breathtaking. That was a lovely
Thank you.
experience to come and stay there. So
That was
being,
fun having you. And the
yeah,
name of it, let's just tell the peeps, the Vintage Inn Boutique
oh
is the
yes,
name of it, in case you
yes,
want to
in
come by.
Tianesta, it's
Hmm.
beautiful, and Lacey is a
Thank you.
phenomenal cook. She will make you the
Thank
best
you.
breakfast you've ever had.
Only because I love to eat, so that's how that
Ah, right.
happened.
Oh, that's a yes. She's a foodie for sure.
Yeah,
So being okay,
definitely.
so a serial entrepreneur,
Yes.
singer songwriter,
Hmm.
high stress level.
I mean, my stress level is not bad because I have learned to manage my kind of emotional body and from very, very young because as I'm going to be brutally honest here, I left home at 15 and as a very young person, I kind of experimented with drugs. I thought I was having fun and partying, but I think I was pain killing. And I think a lot of us people have that experience. But I was done with that at a very young age. When I quit all that, just before I turned 18, I got seriously back into being kind of an athlete and into yoga and meditation. And so from then till now, meditation has been something that I have implemented, utilized daily in my life for many, many years. So many years. How can I really tell the truth? Oh my God, Friday I turned 62. I don't feel like it. My
You don't
body
look it.
maybe now and then, but
You do
thank you.
not
Well,
look it. Oh my
I think
goodness.
it's because of just having those tools and learning to like use your breath, meditation. There's a lot of things that I've practiced daily for many decades, honestly. Like
Yeah.
even a cold shower, like every shower that I take ends with a cold shower. Like things like that.
Ooh,
It may
even in the
not sound
winter.
like even in the winter,
Oh
even
man,
when
you're
it's like,
braver
oh
than
my
me.
God. I'm a Viking, you know.
I mean, I do that
But
now, but in the winter when it's real cold, I just can't bring myself.
yeah.
I get it.
And
Well,
then you can like utilize this thing called breath of fire, and you just breathe deep. And even when you think you can't handle it another half a second, it'll kind of push you through a couple more seconds. But it's super, invigorating, and it's so good for your skin and your hair and your nervous system, believe it or not.
well, yes, we have talked about that in great length in my program, and I've also touched on it in other episodes. But I think one thing that you've actually brought up that we haven't really discussed is meditation. So maybe
Yes.
explain a little bit to my audience of listeners, kind of meditation, what it is, how it works, and give them a little education.
I'm Yeah, I mean, I've studied from early on. I learned, like more of the yoga style meditation, and then I learned many other offshoots from, Middle Eastern philosophies, and having done like been part of group meditation in different groups, I've learned everything from like Shaktipat to, just many different styles. But the simplest thing, and something that I developed a program in 2006 called the Powers Program, which basically is I teach the laws of the universe, the basics, quantum physics. I won't get into it on that level, but just the basics of how to create your life on purpose. And meditation is just a huge part of that. And in simplest terms, being able to close your eyes for just simply even a few 3 minutes, take a few deep breaths to begin with, and just go within and just be silent and just focus on what I like to call your third eye. Some people call it your pineal gland. Some people call it, I call it the space behind your eyes. Like when you're a little kid and before you're going to sleep, you would close your eyes really tight and it seemed to get even blacker and you might see those purpley spots. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do actually.
Just I use that when I say that because I think everyone had that experience as a young person, and just being able to hold your focus there helps to not entertain a bunch of thoughts, because everyone always says, oh, I can't meditate, I'm too, my brain is all over the place. But you can, using breath work and just keep refocusing on that spot and being silent. It's a wonderful practice. It helps you kind of recenter you and get grounded. And when you start your day with that, you would be shocked how your entire life will change if you just allow a few moments each day for that kind of peace, to just try to plug into that, to your higher self, to God, if you want to go further, if you're into that. I am. But
Right?
it's a wonderful practice, just because you talk about stress, even just breath. My son, who's 34, like even on the freeway, he takes me back to when I was like 20. I was very reactive. Oh God, that guy's such a, what, bleep a hole, oh my God, this guy on my right, this guy cut me off. And I'm like, whenever you're feeling that way, it should be a trigger for you to just take a deep breath in through your nose and blow it out your mouth as hard as you can, once or twice, and then you'll remember that all that stuff outside of yourself doesn't have to affect your inner peace. And because there's always an a-hole on every freeway and around every corner. And so if you want to let them, drive how your life force affects your body, go for it. But I mean, a few deep breaths can counteract that stress. And that's just a little tool that people can put into practice,
Yeah.
but when you plant that seed in meditation, or if I'm also a certified clinical hypnotherapist, if you plant that seed while someone's kind of deep in it, that, hey, every time you feel that stress start to build and your shorter breath and you get tense in your body, let that trigger you to remember to take some deep breaths and let all that go and stop focusing on all the
Yeah, because
stuff around you. You
that's
know
a
what I mean?
cortisol response, right? When we start to feel like that, that's
Absolutely.
a cortisol response, and then that triggers glucose and insulin and all sorts of other
Yeah.
things that create all sorts of trouble. But I think,
Yes.
yeah, you bring up very valid, what would you say? Because this I get this a lot. So I want to know what you would say to someone who says, I just don't have time to sit and do nothing.
Oh, I always tell people, you have time to sit and bitch about something. You have time to go to Starbucks and spend too much money on a coffee you could make at home with an espresso machine. You have enough time to, like, hopefully brush your teeth it's literally as quick as that, but it's about priorities. And I always tell people, and you make all this time for others. Oh, I need to be a good human being. I can make time for my daughter, my son, my dog, my plants, whatever. And they all come before you. No, you can be a better mother, sister, daughter, plant keeper, caretaker, all of those things. You can be better to all of those people and things that you care for when you care for yourself first, when you take a few moments. God, give yourself the half an hour to fill your cup, to plug in so that you have this unlimited, source that then now is flowing through you, as opposed to you just giving, and then you're depleted because you're not plugged in. And then
Right.
you run out of the good stuff. And then you're like, why am I so angry and stressed out, and I
Right.
feel empty. I'm an empty because I'm filling up where everybody else's black hole, you know?
Well, that's where burnout comes from. That's
Exactly.
where anger and frustration and all of those things live. Like, to me, I feel like I think about it like I don't want to let anybody else steal my joy, right? So I want to
Mm-hmm.
protect that. And then
Yeah.
when I'm intentional, and when I meditate, and when I manifest the life that I want, like there's no anger and aggression in there. There's only like joy and peace and happiness and all of
Yes.
those things, right?
Yeah. And you've reminded yourself that you can choose to focus on that. And you remember how good it feels when you're focused on that. And then when you're feeling those great feelings, you're vibrating higher and you're literally attracting more of those good things and things that bring you that joy, as opposed to lower vibrational. When you're angry, you just literally attract more dark stuff. And I don't mean, oh God, the devil. I mean just the basic, lower
Well,
vibrational, just the typical, the bloodsuckers. You're literally a walking magnet. So whatever you're thinking and feeling is really the powerful juice behind it all. Is how you're vibrating. And when it's joy, like you said, at that high vibration, you're a magnet for that. You're drawing more and more in. And when it's low, and when you're angry and you're feeling slighted, and you're, feeling all those low vibrational things, you're collecting more. You're literally attracting more of that. And you're wondering, why does it compound like that? Ugh, why does this day keep going downhill even harder?
well,
How is this happening?
you keep
That's
creating it
exactly it.
too, because your junk, your garbage, your feelings are bumping into other people's junk and their feelings, instead of coming
Mm-hmm.
in with joy and
Mm-hmm.
kindness and love and changing someone else's perception. Now you've got two cantankerous humans that are colliding
Right.
with each other, creating more mess
Right.
and
Oh
more
yeah.
stress and more,
Yeah, and there's two of
irritation.
them, and they attract five more because that even heightens the, oh, and then all of a sudden it's a powwow of gross people,
Oh, let's not call
all
them
like big,
gross.
like you gross. No, as in, focusing on things that they are angry about, and how they're angry and slighted, and then they attract more things to be angry about, and they're wondering, how does that keep happening? Yeah.
Right,
It
yeah.
is it is that type of a, it's like the snowball effect, It's just the way it works. And everyone has experienced that, where they're like, it's just a bad hair day, and then everything else goes wrong. They're like, why is this the day that I broke a vase, stubbed my toe, my hair looks like crap, and I accidentally started my house on fire? Oh,
Well, that's a day.
it can it can get worse. I know. And it does.
So,
But
how would
like
you
when you're
suggest keeping yourself from being in there? Like, how would you course correct? Like, give
the
somebody some
best
sound advice for that.
I mean, course correcting, like I said, breath work, like when you're noticing, if you're mindful enough to notice when you're in a bad way with regard to how your perception of what's going on around you is, remembering to just take a deep breath so that you can refocus and just start over in that very moment.
Okay,
Breath
so
work is insane, a deep breath, but other
we need
than
awareness
like
first. We need some
awareness first.
awareness,
And here's the
and
thing,
then we need
what
to
like
take a
I was
deep
going to
breath.
say, yeah, but correcting, like that's what I was going to say. There's always a need for correction, but if you start each day, like when your feet hit the floor, if you just say thank you for the fact that you woke up, thank you for, and then set an intention. I'm saying thank you in advance for, I'm going to have the most incredible day. I'm literally expecting a magical thing to happen to me today. I'm expecting surprises that are going to bring me joy. I can't wait. Thank you, God. I thank you in advance. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful. That's kind of how I start every day. And of course things can, pull in and decide to try to, thwart that your endeavors, but there's certainly, those little things that you can start putting into practice, like a deep breath and like saying, okay. And when you're like, oh, yeah, I'm now all of a sudden I'm mad again. And then you see some guy cross your path who literally has one leg, and he's a vet, and you're like, oh, but I'm free, and I live in a country where I'm free and I can go anywhere I want. Thank you to that guy. Thank you for my freedom. Look, what he doesn't even have both his legs. There's always someone worse off. That's something your mother would always say to you, right?
So,
It's such a basic, it's
right.
so simple,
Well,
but
it's
it's a
about
really
finding
good.
silver linings too, right? Like,
Exactly.
I have a best
Definitely.
friend, and this is what we talk about. Like, we'll give each other 5 minutes. Like, okay, you're having a hard day. You need 5 minutes? Cool. Like, you can vent it all out. Okay. But
Yes.
then we're done, and we're going to find all the silver linings of the
Yes.
situation, because I'm in agreement with you. I will say this over and over again. Like, gratitude is the granddad of positive thinking. Like,
Totally.
no doubt. And we were just discussing this with our sons yesterday about how when they wake up, before they even put their feet on the ground, that they should be thanking God. Like, thank you that I have breath in my lungs, that there's
Yeah.
food in my refrigerator, that there's a roof over my head, and like that I get to live this day.
Yes. And
Like,
I'm so excited about it. The possibilities are endless of what I could do in this day.
yeah, like how
You
can I
know,
serve you?
n-
What can I
yeah.
do to serve the
Yep.
greater?
Yes. And I know I can serve everyone and everything best by first serving myself and having a moment, giving myself everything I need nutritionally, mentally, emotionally. Let me make sure that I get my teeth brushed and my shower and I feel like I look good and feel good and have good nourishing food. And I was a mom. I mean, I am a mom. It didn't change, but he's 34. What am I saying?
You are a
But
mom.
I'm a mom and I put my son first, but I always knew how important it was that I knew I was a much better mom when I felt physically good. When I worked out at the gym, I took him to my gym. He was in diapers. He went in the kiddie room. He went and got babysat. I could look through the window. It's all good. Let your kid get socialized. Don't freak out. Give yourself a whole hour, God forbid. Some people are I think a lot of women out there, they say, "Oh, I just can't. I don't have time." They're in their sweats. They lose their, sense of self, of dignity, of just feeling good about their bodies because they make the excuse. They are kind of in denial. They're like, "No, I'm not making an excuse. I don't have time. I have two kids or maybe three." But you know what? You do. You do have time. You're worth that hour, and you know what? Exercise is the better than Prozac. I mean, I used to say, I know that I should have been on God knows what because I'm super hyper. I have OCD. I have all these issues that, God forbid, have finally been named by a. I never went to therapy, but I knew I had like depression and all this stuff. But I worked out all the time in the gym, and it was my sanity. It made me feel amazing. Those endorphins are the best drug on the planet for people that are depressed, for people that have a lot of mental issues, better than any pill you can take. I'm saying that. I know I'm not a doctor. You don't have to take my advice, but it's important.
Well, we know that endorphins get released when we exercise, right? But we were also having
Absolutely.
a discussion yesterday about how there is something like rhythmic and soothing about, like, even just walking or running or bike riding. Like, it's a repetitive
Yes.
motion, and so you kind of get out of your reptile brain, and you're
Yes.
into this, like, okay, like, I'm just, and like, let's not even talk about the fact that exercise shuttles glucose right into our muscles immediately. We don't need
Yes.
insulin then. Like, it just, the
Right.
the muscle like sucks it right up. So yeah,
Exactly.
I think that there's a lot to be said for exercise and our
And
mental
being in
health.
nature, like you said, even just being outdoors near a body of water, for me, that's my thing. Like I grew up at the ocean and
Oh.
I used to run 6 miles a day, 6 days a week along the ocean. And I love running, but my body doesn't like it anymore.
Hmm.
But then I went to walking and I walk really fast
Yeah.
and then slow it down or whatever. But
And
even just a
outside is great.
stroll, being outside,
Yeah,
yes,
agreed.
it's
I'm a shores girl too. I like the
hmm
shoreline. There's something really peaceful
it's
about
so soothing. But
mhm.
I'm telling you, the ocean, it's like a drug to me.
Well,
It
the
just
lake
makes me
works
feel
too.
calm, and
I mean,
it
anywhere where
does.
the water meets the land is just like mesmerizing in a way.
Yes.
And it does help your mental clarity.
Yeah.
And you did touch on something about being outside. We're looking like we're always inside. We're always inside these four walls. And sometimes our emotions, sometimes how we feel is bigger than this. The energy is bigger
Yes.
than the building that we're in or the space that we're in. And when we go outside, there's more space. There's also
Yeah,
opportunity
and
to,
you have, oh, I was just going to say the opportunity. We almost said that word at the same time, but the
yeah.
opportunity to ground yourself too and put your feet in the grass or in the sand, barefoot. That's like a very positive thing. And it's not just emotional, it's literally, I mean, there's biology there, there's science there, with regard to energy and grounding oneself and electricity and the
And
way that
becoming
works.
part of the environment that you are
Mm,
actually part of the universal energy when you're out there and your toes are
mhm.
in the sand or the dirt or the mud. At this
Mhm.
point in
Mhm.
Northeast Ohio, we have mud.
Yeah, right.
Everything is muddy.
Well, lately it rained so much this last week here, even the side of I'm right on the water here too. In Pennsylvania, I'm right on the Allegheny River, but we've had a ton of rain and my yard is mud
Yeah.
on the side.
Yeah. So when you try to go out
Yeah.
there and walk, you get that in your
Yeah.
toes, which is like,
Yeah.
well, all
Yeah.
right, I guess
Yeah.
we're doing this.
Sometimes you just got to get dirty and it feels gross, but it feels good all at the same time.
My daughter and I had that conversation not too terribly long ago about how so there's something satisfying about going out and working hard, getting dirty, and then
Hmm.
coming in and getting clean. So,
Yeah, big time. I've been that for me, and this place here is I have like an acre, and I can't. There's no way I can't. I've been trimming trees, and I can't keep up, and then I'll turn around and behind me, the whole thing is grown all over again. I'm like, oh my God, that was 5 minutes ago, and then I'm, trying to do it,
but
but I'll do it early in the morning.
we're still keeping our
Yeah.
sanity somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and it does feel good. I just don't like heat. I'm a big, ugh, I can't handle it. So it's got to be early in the morning. I get it done. But yeah, hard labor, physical, something that's gratifying that you can see the fruits of your labor, afterwards is a pretty great way to burn off some stress, since you were speaking of stress, and there's a big payoff and you feel good. But
Yeah.
speaking of stress, speaking of I'm not gonna, I hate the word old, but older than I was, your body, it's like the changes that I've experienced. Talk about things that will piss you off tremendously. You've been athletic your whole life, and then all of a sudden, at a certain age, it becomes the same stuff you did does not bring the same results. And you're like, what is happening? Like, what's going on with this body? Like, this body was great for so many years, all the way to about 50. Then at 53, it started getting a lot harder, and then from there just impossible. Eat like half as much and it still doesn't matter. I think it's important to build muscle when you're an older woman that who's coming into menopause and after menopause, because building muscle is what helps you burn fat. It supports your skeletal, your entire body, and it stops osteoporosis
It
from
keeps our
kind
bones
of
strong.
creeping up on you. It's also helps in regulating, like you said, your insulin use, because when you build your muscle and you're continually working on that build, body building, which doesn't mean you have to bulk up huge, because you'd be surprised how much weight you can lift and not get big.
Right.
Just to maintain your muscle mass at this age, it takes weight. It takes
Yep.
weights. And I think it's the best advice if anyone wanted to say, how can I change my body the fastest at over 50? I would say weight train. I would say go take a body pump class. A lot of gyms teach that. They have different names for it, but where you're using weights, and it's better when you're in a group like that. It's easier to kind of not give up because you're surrounded by people. You're like, I'm not going to be the first one to quit. No way.
The power of
So
community.
Yeah, it's helpful. But anyway, those are some of the things that for
Yeah,
me
and that's
really
actually
work.
that's the biggest recommendation right now for perimenopausal women is build muscle. Build muscle. So
Yes.
you're giving the same advice. It's fantastic. I know you're not an official doctor, but that is the advice. So,
I'm not even a nutritionist, but I've studied nutrition from, the first book I read on that. Well, not the first one, but the most important one, um, Life Extension, Dirk Pearson. I can't remember what his wife's name was. I think her name was Sandy or something. It's as big as a phone, fatter than a phone book. I read it twice. And you know what? That book, I swear, I think they wrote it in like the late 70s. It's still relevant and I mean, it's spot on. It talks about, you know, how your body works, how it uses certain foods, how it makes, what things turn into sugar, how your body makes insulin, when what happens with this and that. It talks about, all of like L-theanine, all tryptophan, how everything, where you get it at its best source, like from food or if you're going to take it. But I mean, it's just a fantastic book. If I were to recommend anything about nutrition, I would say even if you don't want to read that big fat book, you could just go in the index or in the front of it and pick certain subject matters that you're
right.
interested in and read certain chapters.
Well,
It's brilliant.
I'll have to do some research and link it in the show notes so that if anyone wants to read it, and we're readers in our community, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's always a great thing.
Yeah. I love
So,
books. I'm a bookaholic. I don't know
yeah,
if you read a lot, but
I do. I love
I'm
books. That's why I started a
I'm
book
so
club,
boring.
Lacey.
Oh, that's right. I
A
knew
book
that.
club.
Oh my God. I think I need to start taking something for my memory. Oh boy. That
Hey, that's the
okay.
book we're reading in July about cognitive health, the XX brain.
Yeah.
So,
And
well,
I'm going to tell you, too much alcohol does not help that. And I'm going to tell you right now,
oh,
I like a dirty martini with my dinner. One, not two or three. Okay. But I also do a liver cleanse 3 times a year. And I've done it for literally almost 30 years. I've been doing that. And who's the author of that book? The Liver Cleanse. I think Louise Gittleman. I don't know. I'll have to look that up and tell you.
yeah,
But there's a 30-day cleanse that I do. I've done different ones. Sometimes I just fast, but that particular cleanse it just helps your body break down fat, get
yeah.
all the bad stuff out of your colon. It helps you process stuff, and it's basically a liver cleanse, but it makes you feel good. But to reset your body in that way, like even if you only did like a 3-day fast and then came out of it slowly by juicing or doing something like that, it helps your organs. It helps things reset and you can undo some damage. People say you can't undo what's already, that's not true.
And I love that you're sharing that because I never would have guessed that you're 62. And I know that no one can see that. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, so all of the things that you have done to make sure that you're taking care of your body and understanding how your body works. I mean, those are all things that we discuss in my community. Liver cleansing, those are
Yeah.
all things that are vitally important to our health.
Yeah. And the
And we're
cherry on top.
understanding.
Forget it, if you want to lose weight, that's great. But you know what? That's just the cherry on top. And it doesn't hurt to say, you know what? Vanity isn't so horrible. Having a little vanity, if that's the thing that inspires you to do something healthy and take care of yourself so that you can continue to look young and vital and feel good, whatever, if that's what's working for you, be vain. That sometimes that was a driving force for me being in the music industry and having to look my best and all these young chicks all over and be like, okay, I have to kind of keep it moving, be relevant. And yeah, if you want to see what I look like, go listen to my music, lacyyounger.com, or just Google Lacy Younger and you can watch my two newest music videos that are out there.
They're pretty
Don't
great.
forget
I've
that.
seen them.
It's just
Yeah. So,
they're funny.
well, thanks for taking a little bit of time today to chat with us and share your secrets to longevity. I do
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for having me. I really enjoy all of the information that you bring to the table. We were at a function recently where we both were speaking, and I really, really learned so much from you. And especially about women and about how basically cycles of not just your cycle, literally, but cycles, like you were talking about the moon and how
Hmm.
that affects you emotionally. I mean, we all know that, but I just want to learn a lot more from you because you have so much amazing information, things that I just did not know about menopause. And menopause is not fun, period. So
Well, and
we'll
that
leave it at
really and
that.
that really brings to the point too, just in closing, how important it is to have a community of women that you
Exactly.
can, get support from and that you can support. And it's this beautiful symbiotic relationship where everybody is growing and evolving and
Absolutely.
learning and becoming their best self. Thank you for joining me on this journey to educate and empower. I hope you found value in what you heard and will come back to listen again. Together, we're going to create a community of women empowered to transform their health. If you're excited to be part of this, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with the other women in your life who need health support tailored to that X chromosome. Until next time, be kind, be well, cultivate your health.